How much of our social life is built on obligation rather than joy? Ever found yourself mentally preparing for a social gathering, realizing it feels less like joy and more like a performance? This piece from Psyche, gently yet powerfully, explores that very modern dilemma, the unspoken pressure to maintain friendships long past their natural expiration date. It makes you wonder what we gain by holding on to connections that no longer truly nourish us, and what kind of space we might open up if we allowed some relationships to simply and kindly fade away. It's a thoughtful invitation to reconsider what true friendship asks of us. Written by David Sleeth Kepler in Psyche, narrated for Arva. I'm sitting in my car outside Mazzotti's, engine running, unable to make myself go inside. My body knows what my mind won't admit. I don't want to have lunch with Bobby. Not today, not next Tuesday, not ever again at our designated time slot. My shoulders have climbed toward my ears. My breath sits shallow in my chest. There's a weight on my sternum, like someone pressing down with both hands. This is my body in revolt against the umpteenth consecutive Tuesday lunch with someone I once called my best friend. My phone buzzes. Running a few minutes late, be there in 10. Relief floods through me like cool water. 10 more minutes to gather the energy to perform friendship for the next hour. To laugh at the right moments, ask the right follow-up questions, maintain the right amount of eye contact. To be the David that Bobby expects to meet every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. The good listener, the thoughtful advisor, the steady presence in his chaotic life. 20 minutes pass. Another text. So sorry, work crisis, rain check? The relief I feel is so intense it feels like setting down a boulder. I pull out of the parking lot and drive to the coffee shop where I grade projects, feeling lighter with each block between me and our usual table. At the cafe, I settle into my corner when the ceramicist who sometimes works by the window catches my eye. We've never properly met, but she nods toward the espresso machine. They finally fixed it. No more burnt shots. Thank God, I say, and we fall into easy conversation about the cafe's quirks, then somehow into teaching, her workshops, my marketing classes. I catch myself starting to perform my usual interested professor role, leaning forward with practiced attention. Then I stop, let my shoulders drop, let the silence exist. My kiln broke last month, she says, not as a complaint, but a fact. That must be rough for your schedule. She shrugs. Things work out. I've been firing pieces at the community college, actually, meeting other artists. It's better than working alone. When she leaves 20 minutes later, we don't exchange numbers, don't promise to do this again. Yet I feel more connected to her in that unplanned moment than I have to Bobby in months of Tuesday lunches. That night, I attend my friend Melanie's 40th birthday dinner. 12 of us around a long table at her favorite restaurant. I arrive on time, smile at the ready. As I take my seat, I feel it again, the familiar click of a persona sliding into place.
David, Melanie beams, tell everyone that hilarious thing from your department meeting. I launch into the story, hitting all the beats that I know will get laughs. I watch myself from somewhere outside my body, this performing version of me who knows when to pause and when to let the punchline land. The table erupts. Melanie glows with the success of her dinner party. Yet inside, I'm absent, dead, a marionette dancing on familiar strings. Across the table, Rachel is describing her recent promotion. I make the appropriate sounds of congratulation while thinking about the ceramicist's hands moving over clay, how she didn't need anything from me except my presence. When Tom launches into his renovation saga, I nod along, thinking only of when I can leave without seeming rude. If I can slot friendship into Tuesday lunches and monthly dinners, I never have to face the terrifying openness of unstructured time. We should do this every month, Melanie announces over dessert. Same group, rotating hosts. The table erupts again. Phones emerge, calendars sync. I hear myself agreeing, even offering to host October, while something inside me screams. Here is what I don't say. That scheduling these gatherings is my way of controlling the uncontrollable, the messiness of human connection. If I can slot friendship into Tuesday lunches and monthly dinners, I never have to face the terrifying openness of unstructured time, risk rejection, or confront the possibility that, without these scaffolds, some relationships might simply not exist. Walking to my car later, I pass Rachel standing alone, smoking a cigarette. "I didn't know you smoked," I say. "I don't," she takes a long drag, "except after these things." We look at each other for a moment, two actors momentarily off stage. I see my own exhaustion in her eyes. Then Rachel stubs out the cigarette and we resume our roles, promise to see each other next month. But I know, with a sudden clarity, that I won't be there. The unraveling begins small. I stop responding to Melanie's group chat about October's dinner, my silence a tiny tear in the social fabric. Melanie texts privately, "You okay? You haven't confirmed October." "Swamped with work," I reply. "Might need to postpone." Guilt rises like bile, but beneath it, something else, a delicate protectiveness of my new fab space. Bobby texts about resuming our lunches. I tell him I'm reconsidering my commitments. "What does that even mean?" he asks.
I don't know how to explain it, that our friendship has been dead for years, and I've just been performing CPR on a corpse. When the book club emails about next month's selection, I let the message sit unread. My phone becomes a graveyard of unanswered invitations, each one a tiny death I'm allowing to happen. We're two people who used to be close, going through the motions of closeness. Then I run into Melanie at the farmer's market. Her smile is tight, wounded. "You're ghosting us," she says. "I'm not ghosting. I'm just stopping." Stopping what? Being friends? The word hangs between us like an accusation. Around us, people browse tomatoes and sample honey, oblivious to the small social crime I'm committing. I don't know how to tell her that we haven't really been friends for a long time. We've been two people who used to be close, going through the motions of closeness. Somewhere along the way, we outgrew each other. Our interests diverged, our values shifted. The things that once connected us dissolved. The scheduling masked it. As long as we kept showing up at designated times, we could pretend nothing had changed. "I think we've grown apart," I say finally. We have been for a while. The dinners were just scaffolding, holding up something that wasn't really there anymore. Her face cycles through hurt, recognition, resistance. "You can't just stop being friends. You have to work at it." But maybe that's the problem. Maybe when friendship requires constant work, when connection demands commitment rather than growth, something has already died. We just keep performing the rituals anyway. I shrug, let the question sit there, as Melanie turns and walks away. The group chat will continue without me, a ghost limb that I've amputated. The first Saturday with nothing planned feels like standing at the edge of a cliff. The emptiness terrifies me. I've so thoroughly scheduled my life around other people's expectations that I don't know what I actually want. So I do nothing. I sit in my driveway with tea that goes cold, watch clouds change shape, let my phone battery die. I'm afraid of the void, of not knowing who I am without the constant performance of connection. The guilt arrives in waves, all those people I'm disappointing, connections I'm severing. But if I'm honest, I realize the disconnection didn't start with my withdrawal. It started long before. I'd been feeling hollow in those gatherings for years, surrounded by people yet profoundly alone. Somewhere along the way, I'd stopped being present, peddling out a version of myself that seemed to be required for admission. The David who laughed at the right moments, told the stories they expected, and showed up reliably at the appointed hour. That person felt increasingly unreal, a character I was playing rather than a life I was living. As the day progresses, something shifts. The guilt gives way to something I haven't felt in years, presence in my own life. What I'm really afraid of, I realize, is the void, of not knowing who I am without the constant performance of connection, or what's left without endless confirmations that I matter, that I'm needed, that I'm good at friendship. The relentless scheduling was holding my fear of being alone with myself at bay. 3 months later, I'm at the farmer's market again, alone, not scanning for people to avoid or approach, just buying peaches. My friend Paul surprises me. We used to have a standing Thursday forest hike that felt as obligatory as the rest. But after the great unscheduling, he didn't push or guilt me, just sent occasional articles of things he thought I'd find interesting. No response required. One random afternoon, he texts, "Pulling for a hike later if you happen to be free." No advance planning, no pressure. I wasn't free and didn't respond, and that was fine. But a few weeks later, when he texts again, I go. We pick up mid-conversation, as if no time had passed, without the exhausting need to catch up. Our friendship starts to ebb and flow naturally. Sometimes we see each other twice in a week, sometimes 2 months pass. The friendship breathes. The guilt of letting relationships fade is less painful than the slow suffocation of maintaining them. The funny thing is, he confides one afternoon, I'd been dreading our Thursdays too, but I thought you needed them. I laugh, startled. You're kidding. We sit with that, the ways we perform for each other out of imagined obligation, how little we actually know about what our friends want from us. My phone buzzes. The ceramicist. She's having a sale at her studio. Thought I might want to know. No pressure. I go not because I should, but because I want to. The studio is full of people, but I don't feel the old pressure to perform. I look at pottery, talk briefly about glazing, then leave when I'm ready. This is what I've learned. Some friendships should die as we change and grow. I'm not meant to maintain every connection forever, while the guilt of letting relationships fade is often less painful than the slow suffocation of maintaining them. When I stopped propping up every connection, I discovered which ones had actual life, the ones that can handle silence and absence, that don't require constant performance. Those are the friendships worth having. Real friendship doesn't need the artificial respirator of scheduled meetings. It can handle the messiness of people who sometimes don't text back, or disappear for weeks, or show up unexpectedly on a Wednesday with chai and nowhere particular to be. And it can survive the people we become, because we do become different people, and not every friendship is meant to make that crossing with us.